What's her name?
Renee Rose.
Renee Rose.
I think so. Don't want to make her
Where
famous.
have we seen her before? Well,
Renee
how
Rose.
is she?
No, she's not famous.
Okay.
She's just a.
She's been. Oh yeah, I don't think she is.
I think she's just like a normal Kiwi who has like a couple of people follow her or whatever. She she made a post about Indians at the Starbucks with her, and the police rang her mum about it, trying to track her down, tell her it was hateful and mean and racist, and that she shouldn't say things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if they wore those little orange bandanas when they went to visit her. I don't know. Maybe. Imagine that, hey, the police come doorstop you about your racist Indian post.
They send the Indian police officers.
They send the white ones wearing the Indian bandana.
You mean I think you're making a reference to when Chris Luxon was in India?
But more than Luxon, there's the police, one of the senior police officers recently was in Pepatoi and he was wearing one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like at a community event.
Was he like a temple or something?
Yeah, there was photos of him with the local community.
Looking at her thing, she's like a general social commentator.
Yeah.
So she's been like poking the zeitgeist for a while, like talking
Freedom of speech.
Talking about this issue.
She wants, yeah.
No, she is. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, and this is not a mark against her. I'm pretty sure she's part of Destiny. Pretty sure because she was at their march that the police
instantly block her. Instantly.
Good on her.
Red flag.
Active in her faith. Active
yeah, exactly.
In politics.
Active. She's an active lady.
She's talking about the issues that are important to her. Why should the police call her?
No, I don't think the police should call her.
It's like there's other people running around writing "kill all Indians." She didn't write that.
Yeah, they probably should be a little bit investigated.
They found out who that was.
Oh, really?
They're trying to get name suppression.
That's the one that was graffitiing
Pepatoi, yeah.
Pepatoi.
Or was it Pepatoi?
Wait, they're trying to get name suppression for him.
He asked for name suppression.
No, I don't think he should have name
I
suppression.
saw an article the other day.
You reckon he should have name suppression?
I don't really like name suppression in general.
Yeah. You did something stupid.
Yeah.
Pay the price.
Name suppression is meant to be
public shame.
If you get cleared in court, you get cleared in court, and people should presume that you're innocent. Therefore,
but name suppression should be protect the victims, national security, and is that it? This was some one other thing. Oh, if it's gonna impinge on a jury trial.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, like because of public.
Public awareness beforehand. Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't think he meets the threshold for any of it.
No. That should be part of the punishment. Part of the punishment should be the public shame.
Yeah.
100%. I believe that.
So you're a fan of public shaming?
I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
Yeah.
No,
Thank you, Donald Trump.
And people always talk about this, freedom of speech, but not freedom of consequences, and so on and so on and so on. And it's like, I don't agree wholeheartedly with that sentiment. That if you say something I don't like, the consequence is I don't have to associate with you. I don't think the consequence should be the state now punishes you and puts you in jail.
Yeah.
But, if he's gone and committed this crime and they've caught him and he's guilty, I think that should be part of the public record.
Well, it's one of the self-correcting mechanisms that actually make a strong pitch for free speech, right?
Yeah.
Because if you want to say it, then you also got to wear it, right? You've got to kind of own it.
And
exactly. It helps
don't
other
weasel.
And the key thing is it helps other people identify what you think about stuff.
I'll tell you something funny that happened though. Someone the day after it all happened, and there was and because it happened, and then a day later they caught him, and then the next after that, so 2 days after the graffiti, I was talking to somebody, and they said, "Yeah, did you know the guy who did the graffiti was Indian?" And he wasn't.
No.
It was like complete misinformation.
Yeah.
But it just shows you how fast. And I said, "Who told you that?" He goes, "No, I saw it online. I saw a video about it. They know he's Indian."
Must be true.
I searched for it for like a good 20 minutes. I couldn't find anything. It's just crazy how fast
Lies,
misinformation.
Yeah, people believe what they want to.
But then, I would be a double fool if I didn't fact check that. So do your own research.
Look at you go.
Yeah, can I get a round of applause, please? Just hit the button.
Yeah, true. We should bring.
I need to figure out how to put the sound effects on that right now.
Have like lines from different politicians. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
what I'd say to you is.
What
I'd say to you is. But anyway, going back to that girl Renee.
Yeah.
Look, I don't know how they can punish her or
under what law. There's no law, thankfully, to punish that.
Exactly. It's just intimidation at this point.
Yeah.
They're just trying to intimidate her. I don't think she's that bothered. I don't think she cares at all.
No, I think from her posts, it seems like
doubled down.
She loves this. Yeah, like she's been trying to get this for a long time.
This is exactly how you create like a influencer on the side that you're opposing there. Because they're trying to intimidate her and trying to be quiet.
Bro,
she's like capitalizing
bigger.
hard.
Yeah, I didn't know about her now. I know about her now. I didn't know about her before.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think like she had a couple thousand followers. She'll explode after this.
She has 3,000 and now 3,001 now.
Did you just follow her?
So I guess the context then, right?
Mm.
People who haven't been following it, is that we've had both New Zealand First and ACT kind of talking a lot more about their migration
That's right.
stance.
Yeah.
Well, I should say immigration stance. ACT just came out with their policy, right? So they've just announced their policy, and David Seymour's been doing the rounds, explaining to media and the public what.
That's right. It's
what
becoming an
they stand
election
for.
issue.
Yeah.
Immigration, as we predicted, I think. Some podcasts
Okay, there's literally a clip. I'm going to try to find it, stitch it in here. We did a clip months ago saying, will
Yes.
immigration be a major factor of this election?
I think we
Insert
also,
clip here.
And you did say, I know, I do have to admit,
I mean, you see cost of living, which is actually still big. We're bigger than when we last talked. This is the thing, both issues have grown in sort of tandem because of the fuel crisis and global conflict. But yeah, ACT's coming out and putting out their stance, I suppose you'd call it.
Yeah.
They didn't revise anything, I don't think. They just clarified. But someone called it window dressing, sort of preemptively taking a position for when the FTA is exposed for not being all that it was cracked up to be. Do you think that that's true?
I don't think that's true.
You love the FTA, so you think it's
Yeah,
good.
well, I don't love the FTA, but I don't unlove the FTA.
You signed it, didn't you? Didn't you
Yeah,
undersign it?
I actually was. I am the FTA.
You co-wrote it. 14,000 pages. No, was it 1,400?
1,400 pages.
Holy.
I mean, I think there are some gaps that need to be addressed. And
That's
I think
great,
they're
but it's not perfect.
Yeah, I think they're
me.
quite large gaps, but
I'm great, but I'm not perfect.
I agree. I think overall it's probably better that we go with it because of the position that we leave ourselves in with China if we don't.
That's right.
The
Well said.
vulnerability that
Well
we
said.
have and the dependence on that market.
That's right. Well said.
I just don't get, because this whole thing around, India is the fastest growing economy in the world.
There's a billion customers.
There's a
over
billion
a billion.
Yeah, but listen, I've been to India. Are they all capable and able to be great customers? And we're hitching our wagon to them solely for the purpose that we have a billion new customers. Why don't we develop things in country on our own ground that make us better? Do we have to hitch our wagon to someone externally?
The argument is, yeah, you can make things better in New Zealand, but who's going to buy it? Yeah, you actually need a market.
And that is how you win a debate really fast.
Yeah, but what
Good job, sir.
I think but both good points. But what I think may be missed by a lot of business people, and hey, who am I to really say? But
Hey,
I think
business
that
ideas.
there's an assumption still that manufacturing, the approach to manufacturing that has really kind of defined the last 30, 40 years, where we've outsourced everything to China and they've kind of produced it cheap for us and sent it back, mainly because they had low wages, because they had very low wages compared
and heavy subsidies,
to the West. It's assumed that would happen with India as well. I'm not so sure about that. I think the problem that we're going to see is that robotics and automation in factories combined with AI already is being demonstrated in China to be a very powerful replacement for a cheap labor force. So
cheaper even,
I'm not sure that India is going to have that competitive advantage through low wages, low wage labor, the way that China did in the 90s and onwards.
I understand the economic benefit, but the cultural and social trade-offs that seem to be there.
Yeah. Seem to be there. Yeah.
And this is the thing. I've heard people say there is capped numbers. I've seen other people say there's no capped numbers. I've seen the breakdown of every category
Like
through which they're
100 yoga
recruiting.
teachers. Yeah.
250 yoga teachers, 250 chefs.
Yeah.
And I've seen credible sources on both sides of this argument. So who is actually right?
Well, I think like Seymour was pointing out with their immigration policy that, for instance, people are being brought in to work for Domino's Pizza.
We have 2,500 people coming in on the skilled.
on the high skilled. It was a high skilled category.
It's crazy, eh?
And like, realistically, we've got all our young people leaving because they can't even find a job at the pizza parlor.
Yeah. When was the last time you got fast food, whether it be a Domino's or even a McDonald's, or I got Everysingh KFC yesterday before jiu-jitsu. It was all Indian people working there.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that by and large that has been the case. The same is true with a lot of like food delivery services, like Uber Eats and stuff. We're seeing certain industries where a lot of people from India are coming in and filling those places.
But then equally, like you go to the mall, everyone at Vodafone or One New Zealand is Indian. I go into the store because I hate the call center. It's the same experience now.
Is it actually?
It is, yeah. Because I stopped calling the call center for help because you took someone in India. So I was like, oh man, I live like 500 meters from the shop. I'm just going to go in.
Yeah.
Go in. Might as well have called the call center. But, you know, and then you look at all the jewelry stores. So it's like, is that, and people who are listening to this outside of Auckland, please let us know if this is not your experience. Because I think we are in, the most densely immigrant populated place in New Zealand. So maybe we feel it more than others. Maybe everyone in Auckland's just the ones being stink about it. Maybe it's us. I was in regional New Zealand, rural New Zealand, Kirikiri and Paparoa.
Oh, yeah.
And my in-laws are based there. And we were having this conversation because my in-laws were like, who are you going to vote for? And, you know, why are you going to do that? I said, look, I'm probably likely to vote for New Zealand first, barring any major controversy.
Really?
Yeah, that's where I am now.
Okay.
I reserve the right to change my mind.
Please do reserve that.
But for now, I'm
Keep that reserved close.
I'm like, you know, I'm not afraid to admit or be transparent around how I feel about things. I'm not going to allow it to affect what we do here at Pillar. But, you know, I was like, I quite enjoy Winston and Shane. And I think that, you know, unless something super controversial comes out, then that's where my vote will go. And they couldn't believe it. And they're like, oh, we've got this Indian couple in our church and they're amazing. I was like, how many Indians are in the church? Oh, just that couple. And like, and the local shop owner's Indian. So in their whole community, they know of 2 Indian families, both of whom are incredible people. And I'm like, that makes so much sense that this is not an issue to you, and actually puts into perspective to me how probably skewed my opinion on the issue is, you know? So
I think that's it, eh? Like when you're not actually interacting with people, it's easier to kind of see the differences.
Yeah.
But actually when you do get up close and you interact with people, you'd think, oh, you'd see so many differences, that'd be more difficult. Actually, you tend to, as human beings, look for common ground wherever you can. Having said that, I think that the big thing to emphasize in the end is not just skills, lack of, and whether they're filling those sorts of jobs. I think both ACT and New Zealand First have made the point that there has to be some cultural affinity with the values, democratic values of this country. Because, like, you know, we've had lots of different migrant communities that have come in. Many of them have integrated really well. They still retain some of their culture. They still retain like a sense of community amongst, you know, that particular nationality. Like I'm thinking of the Filipino community.
Let's
like,
go,
and I think the Filipino community are known around the world for being able to like
top 10 immigrants,
very flexible in terms
top
of adapting. But
top 3.
Let's go.
So, and the key question is: Are we looking at migrant groups coming in not based on ethnicity, but based on an approach culturally that matches what our democracy is about?
And I would say the number, because
sure. How fast can we absorb, you know, new communities?
Yeah.
And what does that entail?
How fast can our infrastructure, like, you know what I mean? It's not just infrastructure, the culture, but it's like the roads, and the houses, and the hospitals.
And I would say this is something that is of interest to me. What effect can they have on the community around them? Are they able to establish, like, obviously we believe in freedom of religion and belief in all these things.
Yeah.
Are they able to now receive taxpayer funding to support the building of their temples and their churches? Are they allowed to serve in public office in an electorate position? Like, can they be on the local boards or local councils, or can they even run for parliament? That's a discussion that actually a lot of people, if you're not New Zealand born, don't think that you should be in a position of public office. And I'm like, oh, okay, I see there's merit to that conversation. Obviously, you can naturalize. Like, you've been here since you were 8, and I would have zero issue with you going into public office.
Thank you.
In fact, I'm casting my vote preemptively for when you run for Prime Minister.
Thank you. Oh.
But, you know, I can understand why there's some pushback when
totally makes sense.
Foreigners or non-New Zealand born immigrants come in. Well, everyone who's non-New Zealand born is an immigrant, really. But, you know, what I'm trying to say, do you think that there should be, because ACT is talking about no welfare for the first 5 years.
5 years.
Do you think we should have more provisions in place that kind of ring fence the immigrant experience in New Zealand?
I do think that the idea of having a waiting period before you could get any kind of social benefits, social welfare assistance, makes sense. I think if you can't in the first few years, maybe the first 5 years, like ACT are talking about, you can't actually contribute, you know, enough, and you are hit, say for instance, something like you have a health issue or whatever, you should have health insurance to cover you for that period that you're here in that, say, especially that first 5 years. And then after that, sure, if you've got a track record, you've shown that you've had consistent employment through that period, all of that type of thing, then you become eligible for some of those benefits that are provided through what you're contributing in tax.
Because one of the things they wanted to do was $6
a day
levy towards when you inevitably come into
So they say it'll raise 80 million a
So it's like 11,000 a person, I think, over that 5-year period, right?
6 times, is it $6 a day? Yeah, so 6 times.
That's what I saw the figure. I didn't do it.
I saw this other human rights organization. I can't remember what they're called. I never heard of them before. But they're like, what X putting forward is inhuman. You know,
what?
It's inhuman. I'm like, brother, they've been very clear. I thought it was really. I sent you guys the graphic, and I said, oh, it's actually super reasonable.
I think what we forget.
I
think what we forget is that who are we comparing ourselves with? Because most other countries, I'm talking about OECD countries.
Exactly.
It ain't that easy to get welfare there either if you go in on a work visa. So I'm looking at it going, you know what? In the end, if we can't afford to pay for it in the long term, then no, we can't do it.
If you're an immigrant, an indigenous person, someone with a disability, seriously, someone who is homeless or living rough, there is no nation in the world who's going to treat you better, in my opinion, than New Zealand.
Sure.
There's so much available to you. Yet we got all these sooks always crying about something. Oh, you know, give us more, give us that, this and that. No.
I hear Palestine's pretty good.
Okay, what would you say
What
then?
about Antarctica?
What would you say then
Yeah.
to like the orchardist, you know, down in, I don't know, the Bay of Plenty or something like that, right? They got a kiwi fruit orchard, or someone down in like Otago, they've got, you know, stone fruit, and they need seasonal workers or they need people that can come in and do maybe, you know, year-round jobs, and they can't get our local young people to fill those jobs. They can't get them to fill those roles.
You know what I'd say? One word. Boulevard. Naka.
Yeah,
that's what I'd say.
So Pacific Islands,
baby, let's go. My lolly lay, get them in.
So
and here's the thing.
Okay, so you're not saying no immigration in that sense, or no like work visas for people from some parts of the world.
No, my first solution would be that young Kiwis do those jobs, those hard labor jobs. Yeah. And I actually just don't agree that there's not a desire for those people to do them. They haven't been offered. If we, like, honestly, just imagine this. You're a Kiwi, you're a teenager, you're growing up, and the culture is that when school finishes, you and a bunch of mates get in a van or a bus and you go somewhere and you work hard, and then you have New Year's off together in Central Otago, and then you do fruit picking. Like, how cool is that? That's like the stuff that the New Zealand dream could be built upon, and you learn.
It's hard yakka too, right?
Yeah, but because the demand is high, it's hard work, and admittedly, young Kiwis don't have that high level of work ethic. That's why these orchard owners and these farmers love the immigrant workers, because they work freaking hard.
They do.
They send 99% of their paycheck home, and that's why they're so easy to abuse, because you withhold money. So there's two sides. It's not just the immigration problem; it's the employment problem. How do we actually get these employers?
How do you protect people in that labor?
Because it'll blow out costs if you have the Kiwis on there. Admittedly, they won't work as hard, and they'll require a higher wage. So there's a few things to fix. But I would say Pacific Islands, like-minded in terms of family orientated. Largely have a Christian Judeo value base, have family here, speak the language, even at a fairly
speak the language
introduction level, and you know, just having a good time, you know, set up a little kava hut here and there, you know.
Love a bit of kava.
Okay, here's an idea. Hear me out. The government owns all the land and all the means of production. And then they give us, like, I'll call it a citizen's income. Yeah, like an allowance. And that's like a little treat for being.
Much of what you described sounds like China.
I was going to say the top party, but
So you're telling me I could own nothing and be happy? Are you serious?
No, I didn't say you could be happy.
Oh, okay.
Don't get ahead of yourself.
Irrelevant.
Don't get ahead of yourself. Hey, if it comes down to this, if people don't want immigrants, or if people want lots of immigrants, have more children. You know, it's like the reason we're bringing people in is because, as you say, we're not doing it ourselves. We're not creating demand in the country ourselves. We're not the ones working in the industries we need to be working in. We're not meeting the quotas for doctors. We're not meeting the quotas for, I don't know, yoga teachers or whatever it is. Much of this is tied to our economic goals. So, but the reality is we're not having enough children.
Here's another challenge: how much of these, kinds of jobs, how many of these kinds of jobs can actually be automated And are we going to see, as part of the robotics revolution that's already here, are we going to see that those sorts of industries transformed in that way so that actually, in the long term, we're not going to be looking at the same level of migrant workers that we need?
Well, agriculturally, for sure, I think the robotic revolution. I think I was talking about this a while ago. The Dyson CEO or the founder of Dyson has like a fully automated farm in the UK, and he's like cutting edge. So it's going to take a while for that to come into commercial and general use. But like,
that's a lot of capital to throw in.
Yeah, and everything he does is innovative. He's reinventing stuff as it operates because he's just problem solving. But this whole argument of like, oh, we're not meeting the quota for doctors and high school workers again. If I'm being honest, I want a New Zealand trained doctor or someone who trained in a Western liberal nation, the UK, Australia, even the US. Like, I don't see why we would just bring doctors and dentists and acupuncturists and all that from anywhere.
Especially when we're paying, right? Because we're subsidizing the education of most people that go to medical school or dental school. And then huge numbers of them are basically getting qualified, doing the minimum here and then leaving.
Well, they're going away for life experiences, right?
Yeah, but also to pay off their student debt.
Yeah, but I think New Zealand we honestly have the greatest hand to play. Would you love to live in a safe nation that has beautiful scenery, speaks English, has a high standard of living, and you could bring your world-class first grade profession here and be remunerated fairly? Yes.
Yeah, but that's the last point. That's the difficulty.
Okay.
Right.
So we can't compete.
Because I don't. Yeah, I think
Not at the moment.
That's the challenge. Is we can't compete with salaries internationally, by a long way.
That's why our young people are leaving, and then people from second-class countries
Coming here.
are coming here.
With a middle-
relatively, we're giving more, and so if certain people didn't screw up our economy 6 years ago, things.
I think this goes back
nicer.
for 6 years, but yeah.
Probably.
Honestly, I think a lot of the parties have a lot of blame.
Yeah,
to share.
for sure.
Of course.
Going back to the 80s and 90s before that.
Some migrants are the most quote unquote anti-immigrants people. Like if you have good immigration policy, you will actually have a better sentiment towards immigration in the long run. If these people who are pro-immigration are getting angry at New Zealand First or the ACT Party for putting up policies that say, hey, if you're an overstayer, we need to get rid of you because, hey, you're
here illegally.
You're here illegally. And people get up in arms and say, oh, no, this is bad. We love immigrants. It's like, no. If you do actually have good immigration policy, people, you're more likely to have more immigrants.
Yeah.
Because the culture will buy into it more because these people are contributing. And the reality is, like, immigrants do actually contribute in large part to our businesses, our economy.
Sure.
And if it's done well, these
But
pro-migrant
if you
people
feel like there's too much competition coming in that you're being
and they're not doing anything, then you
and
want them
there's
out.
certain things that are being lost.
So if you love immigration, let's do it properly and let's get
let's move away from the strong argument for immigration, which everyone always talks about, which is the economy and things. What about the culture? What about the Kiwi culture, the Kiwi identity?
So,
because that's the issue that I think. Sure, immigration helps us with our economy, with businesses, all these things. But what about the Kiwi culture? What about, being...
That's what we have to define, right?
I think part of it is
to make that actionable, we have to go,
Kiwiana, mate.
What specifically are we talking about? Because there are certain groups, like we've talked about already, that have come in that have been pretty good at assuming a lot of that culture.
And I think that's less of where they've come from and more the fact that they had to assimilate in order to operate within the society because they didn't have a similar group to just plug back into.
That's I reckon that it is a factor, but I think also there are some cultures that are a bit more flexible and more adaptable, and and I'm not just talking about like European countries.
But look at the huge. Well, no, not even huge comparatively now. But you imagine being a Chinese immigrant to New Zealand in the 80s, 90s.
Yep.
Those guys who came over in the gold rush, obviously, way ages ago. But the 80s, 90s, the Chinese group that came and set up businesses, retail, fish and chip, grocer, they all integrated because there wasn't a huge Chinese community at the time to reintegrate themselves into. Now we have 350,000 Chinese migrants in New Zealand, many of which are here because they love New Zealand, but they don't have to integrate and assimilate to New Zealand because they don't have to learn the language. There's all the services available to them. They've got their own language media here now. That's an internet thing. But they don't have that pressure to become Kiwi. And it wasn't even a pressure, I would say. It was an opportunity. They don't have the opportunity to become Kiwi. They don't have the access to become Kiwi because they effectively moved from mainland China to mini China here. And the same can be said for Indians. The same can even be said for Pacific Islanders.
I think too, like, it's not enough just to argue that they should come from civil societies that are democratic in nature.
No.
Because, like, you could argue, well, Pakistan has democracy in theory, but some of the biggest challenges that the UK is facing are coming from not all Pakistanis, but certainly a particular tribal group in Pakistan that have attitudes towards women that are completely antithetical to the civil liberties that we celebrate.
Yes,
you know, in
they're bad
democracies,
values.
liberal democracies.
So it's less about where you've come from and I think probably more about where you're arriving. And that's what's fallen apart.
Yeah.
And I think in large part because we haven't been intentional about what happens when people do arrive.
Yeah.
Which is what ACT is talking about in terms of means testing for the first 5 years and things like that.
And also, we haven't been intentional about re-emphasizing what it is to be a Kiwi or what it is to be a New Zealander. Like we don't like. I don't know.
Because Kiwis can't agree on that.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
And I think that's to our detriment.
Barbecues, rugby, Christmas at the beach, fish and chips, helping your neighbor, having a couple of brown friends.
We should have enough migrants so that everyone has a couple of brown friends. That's our policy.
You have to know at least one Sione.
nice.
There you
I
go.
know
Because
Sione.
everyone knows one Sione.
I know, Sione.
And
You've
Sione's always
you've
been
just
there.
excluded a lot of people that live 100 kilometers from the sea
No.
in New Zealand.
Not at
No,
all,
no.
not at all. Mate, you ever seen a freezing works next to the sea? Have you? No, you haven't. I'll tell you right now, Balclutha, they know a lot of Sionis.
Yeah.
Now, this is the thing. We always talk about this. Well, we don't know what it means to be a Kiwi. We've got a whole industry called Kiwiana built on what it means to be a Kiwi.
I agree, but those are things. It's like those aren't values.
They're the physical manifestations, though.
Exactly. So what is it underlying those things? You know,
I mean, there's some
The
And we
Muzzy
talk-
Bee, the
yeah,
Susie
yeah, yeah.
Cato.
There might- some of that stuff is symbolic of those deeper values, but I guess I'm thinking more along the lines of probably our civil liberties heritage. Because if you don't subscribe to the civil liberties,
Yeah,
our
exactly.
Bill of Rights,
that
Act,
needs to be. Yeah, exactly.
that would be for me the key test. Is this person actually
Pro free speech.
not
pro- pro
yeah?
this,
Can they? And this would be a challenge for most Kiwis as well. Actually,
Yeah, exactly.
Do you
This
know
is the
what?
thing.
Do you
This
know
is
what
I'm
the
trying to
Bill
get
of
at.
Rights Act actually talks
Yeah,
about?
exactly.
What are those civil liberties? So in a sense, it's also a good chance for
Us.
New Zealand-born or New Zealand-raised
Yeah.
Kiwis to pull their socks up.
That's right.
On this.
That's right.
I think Kiwis avoid it because it feels like quite an American thing to be
Yeah, exactly.
constitutionally minded or center your beliefs around your founding documents.
Think about how your government operates.
Yeah. Because that's the thing. Everything in America is like, oh, what is the Constitution? Or, this is my First Amendment, Second Amendment, Fourth Amendment.
allegiance to the Constitution.
But that's just a reactionary attitude, which doesn't get us anywhere, right? If we just go, oh, it's that sounds quite American, and if that's
But then
a
on the other hand,
made
we're
the
like,
greatest
Chinese.
nation in the world.
Yeah, if Americans now the new dirty word that it's very American.
Let me tell you
then
this.
That's not going to get us anywhere.
America's the second greatest nation in the world behind New Zealand.
That's right. And then after that is Iran.
Bringing it back because I said it months and months ago.
Not happening.
We have a podcast titled Grand Coalition.
You can't
not
speak
happening.
into existence. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
when I said it,
It's just not.
when I said it, listen, when I said it, who else was saying it?
No
one.
one.
And who's talking about it now?
Wayne Brown.
Almost no one.
Audrey Young,
Young.
senior political commentator. Just remember that. This is her job. She knows.
Mm.
To be fair, she was talking about scenarios. She wasn't backing it. She just scenarios.
Now,
Wayne
I
Brown's
think
Wayne was
big
backing it.
Now, listen. You said it not because you were wanting it, but because you thought it was conceivable,
They're
right?
pushed together by unpopularity.
Wayne Brown, people like Audrey Young, are really putting the idea out there because they like the sound of it.
Yeah, Wayne sees it as far as I understand, Wayne said it, Mayor Brown, if you're listening, Mayor Brown, said it as a solution to sort of stop divisive politics,
That's right.
which I think is the stupidest. Like,
That's not
There's
very
no
good.
way-
That's not
that's-
very
that's
good
top
reason.
party.
yeah, listen, they do not care about divisive politics. They care about power. That's what's pushing it for me. I'm like, no. This is going to be a power securing move.
That's right.
I still like,
It's about status quo preservation, right?
but I still don't think that the powers that be behind the parties are going to allow this because Chris Luxon and Chris Hipkins are figureheads.
Fully, yeah.
They have people behind them who actually make those decisions.
Our parliament is an adversarial system, and people just have to get used to that. The fact that we don't have one side against another side, but that we have multiple, many different parties all kind of trying to figure out their place in the system. Yes, that makes it more complicated, but it doesn't change the nature of Parliament. If you go back to first past the post, it's still adversarial.
But this is the thing. What's because I don't disagree with you, but what's changed, I think, is who is your adversary. I think National and Labour are waking up to the idea that they are both different colours on the same side, which should be left of centre. Like National can say, "Oh, we're right of centre, or we're conservative," fiscally sure, but everything else, you're right there next to Labour. And as long as you can negotiate that, you see he doesn't like it because he's a National guy, but he's one of the few good ones. Because National has some great candidates, though.
They do have,
and it'll be hard to get those good candidates that we've talked about in the past, like the Pinks and the Moonies and the Van der Molens and the
Costleys and Browns
and Simeon. It'll be tough to get them across.
And the Luxons and the
Luxon's all for it, man. Luxon will do one of those, those breakdancing moves where they slide on their head. He'll be sliding on his head into that coalition talk, mate. But yeah. Anyway, as someone who actually probably has better insight than me. Well, definitely has better insight than me. Arian, what do you think about this? And also, what are you trying to smell?
Someone's smoking.
Oh, what are they smoking?
Hot. Smoking hot.
My neighbour, they always smoke.
Really? Oh, you can smell it? Yeah, I thought I was going crazy. What do I think? I think the Grand Coalition talk is nonsense. Sorry, that's very strong language. Sorry.
No, I'm not offended. I hope you're right. I probably believe you are right, but also part of me doesn't.
It'll be funny, but I think it's just way too much, way too crazy. And Michael Law, I was thinking, so I saw a video about Michael Law speaking about this. And before I clicked on it, I was thinking, what do I think about Grand Coalition? And I think this would be the end of both parties. And then, not that this is a great thing, and that I'm trying to write off Michael Law's credibility because he's the most credible person ever, but Michael Law's also said this would be the end of both parties. Because what will happen is that the large portion of the voter base for both National and Labour will think, well, to hell with you. I voted for you because I don't like Labour. I voted for you because I don't like National. And now you've gone with these guys. So the most sane thing for me to do next time around is to vote for New Zealand First or for the ACT Party.
And I just want on the record that I made a lot of the points that Michael Laws makes in that clip.
Yeah.
Before he made them.
But is that an old clip? Or is
I
saw it when it came out.
Because
I was like,
because you sent it to me.
Yeah.
No, you sent it and I said, oh, you made all those points as well.
Yeah.
What I think...
he makes some other points, actually, that were good. But
what I think, though, because I do agree with you, it'll be the end of those parties, but there's been all this narrative going around that this is the natural progression of MMP, that you had these two sort of main parties, but now their support is dissipating and it is spreading a little bit more. We're getting more... I would say equal shares of coalition leadership. Do you not think that this is just the natural progression, that this is their natural death, that they'll do this and it'll be that final nail in the coffin? In the next election, we start seeing some of these minor parties, even the Greens, like you see the Greens, TPM, NZ First ACT, they will start polling consistently above 10 because National and ACT spread the vote so much further.
Could be, although I think we're at a turning point right now, both for National and for Labour, where National, I think, is having to, I don't want to say redefine, but actually define itself and who they are. And in light of what the ACT Party and New Zealand First are doing and how they're polling, in the same way, I think Labour is having to sit down, and I think they'll have to do it after this election. I don't think they'll do it now, but actually define what does the Labour Party actually believe, in the same way that the National Party. And I think that will increase the competitiveness across the left and the right a bit more. I think if they fail to redefine themselves or to actually define themselves, then what you're saying is more likely to happen, and they're more likely to converge together into the middle. But I think, what's his name? Wayne Brown came out and said, "Oh, if you were in a dark room, you wouldn't be able to tell, who's Labour and who's National." I don't agree with that.
I think that Labour would have a harder time trying to redefine themselves because they're more ideologically captured or captured or whatever you want to call it. But they actually do have certain philosophies or principles that they really adhere to. Not that I agree with them, but National are more likely to reinvent themselves.
Yeah, but I think they can be more reasonable and empirically grounded, whereas
also too, because
Labour,
you're talking about a lot of business-minded people, right, that go with National, who go, all right, well, where's the demand?
It's simple.
And therefore, like, I'm going to supply what people want when it's this area, that area. And that's the challenge, for the left, actually, at this point in time.
Okay.
Mm.
So let's say, because I think Labour's sort of hit their ceiling here
With 35%.
in terms of popularity.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There's only down from here, or they stay consistent at 35. They don't have enough to govern with just the Greens.
Yeah.
And they literally got called out for this over the weekend when
That's
they went into coalition or early partnership talks without inviting TPM. So that got called out very clearly. National has to lose a bit more popularity, which I think they will do in order for this to become a reality. I was talking to someone who said that if National gets down to 10, I don't see anywhere in reality that National gets as low as 10.
No.
Like, that would be, unless like something crazy happened, like, the FTA, something crazy in the FTA gets exposed,
China
or
took
there's
over and
a
India
huge
took
moral
over.
failure, or something like that. Even a huge moral failure probably wouldn't be enough to sink them.
No.
But I think, as it becomes more and more apparent that Labour can't govern only with the Greens, which it already is, and then NZ First has already said no, ACT has said no, National's the last party to say no.
You know what I think is that could be possible. You know what I think is far more likely
Tell us.
is if National and Labour went together, those two big parties would have to share a lot of power between themselves, which would mean a lot of compromise. What is far more likely is that Winston Peters says, actually, this is my last time running. This is the end of it for me. This is the end of the road. I don't want to be in opposition.
Yeah.
I'll just go with Labour.
Possible. Yeah.
I think that's far more likely. And if he continues to poll in the way he does, I don't see why he wouldn't go with.
But
Labour.
what do you mean that National and Labour would have to compromise on a lot? Because I don't think they actually would. Again, they're more similar than they are dissimilar.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like what's his name? Hipkins would want to be prime minister for the whole thing, and Luxon would want to be prime minister for the whole thing. But then they'll be like, "Oh, I'll take prime minister."
And then Helen Clark would say, "Well, it doesn't matter because I'm really prime minister."
Yeah. John Key and Helen Clark come in.
Like,
I think the pay equity issue would be quite
exactly.
a
Pay
sticking
equity,
point.
climate stuff.
But who's pushing pay equity? Is it ACT or is it National?
I'm not sure climate stuff to the same degree.
National.
I think it could be.
Simeon though is now energy, but if it was Simon,
The Greens would be a more difficult party to work with in terms of climate compromise.
I think that they would put compromise aside because actually, in my view, do agree on a lot more than what people think about.
Yeah.
And they would say, we're getting this country back on track, and that they would
they
would know that they had just cut themselves off at the knees and try to
and
recover.
what you're saying is not unreasonable given they've worked together on the FTA. They're going to work together on the social media ban. They're going to work together on the modern slavery. So
I'm not convinced.
On the
I think it's conceivable, but I just don't think it's likely.
Yeah.
It's conceivable, but
it's not likely. I think you did right. You ready? You feeling good?
Yeah, feeling positive. It'd be good to speak to the Justice Select Committee about the Policing Amendment Bill. I know other advocacy organisations have come out and just said, get rid of it entirely. Get rid of the bill. It's an interesting position. I do remember we were one of the earliest voices to pick up this bill and look at it and say, oh, there's some serious issues here. Like you're just giving police basically unvetted power to film and record anything anywhere. And the Privacy Commissioner as well has come out and basically, well, I don't want to say said word for word what we said, but
he stole our whole flow.
We should be the Privacy Commissioner.
I just want to say,
I'm joking
again. There's been the social media ban, this foreign interference, the Chinese EVs. If you're out there and you're listening, please let us know who else has been this early to these many issues, speaking these lines that now you're sitting and picked up. Vivian Matterborn, the CEO of Internet New Zealand,
straight up.
She put out an op-ed last week in the Post.
Almost word for word.
That was literally
crazy.
She pretty much copied one of our op-eds or one of and I wrote almost an identical op-ed months ago and shopped it around. And no one wanted it. We ended up using it as a blast, obviously.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, what are these guys doing? They're asleep behind the wheel. And other organizations that are far more established, who were just 10 days after us putting out pretty much the exact same lines. So if you've been supporting us, just know you're an early adopter. You're an early adapter.
Trendsetters.
You're visionary.
You're visionary. Because the Policing Amendment Bill, you pulled out last year.
What features of the bill are worth keeping? Worth not throwing?
So one of the things it says is that after a series of court cases, and essentially what's happened is there's been cases that have happened. The police have gone to court, and now the police are left. This is what they say: the police are left unsure as to what they can and can't record in public. and the way they word it, and very anecdotally speaking, I have, I spoke to someone who was a police officer, and I said, "Oh, do you feel uncertain with your like filming and recording capabilities?" He's like, "No, I just record whatever on my phone. It's not," and I didn't say anything, so that wasn't a great answer because he was like, "Yeah, we just record whatever."
Yeah.
I was like, "That's pretty bad." Like,
Honest.
yeah. Anyway, I won't say his name. Or maybe I didn't have the conversation. Who knows? Well, I did, but
But that illustrates that, right? That to some degree, the police and anyone that works in this type of role, they're gonna do what they can until they're told they can't.
yes,
They do whatever they want.
They already do.
From the top to the
his
bottom.
response was like,
Literally, like,
So unless
Unless they get
really,
caught, yeah.
unless it's really clearly laid down, not just in law but in their training as well, and then it's enforced by the higher ups,
yeah,
you're not going to see.
no,
but
a significant change
they
there.
they sit on their high horse as the police, and they say, "Oh, safer communities together," and then they give themselves the responsibility of making sure we're all safe, to the point where they're infringing all of our rights. Can't protest, can't gather
Yeah.
here, can't gather there, can't write.
you're scared you're
Every
being
single-
filmed everywhere
yeah,
you go.
you know,
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
post
and
about
that- and
Starbucks.
that's the safety argument. Ultimately, is actually not safety or freedom. It's actually you're trading one type of safety for the loss of another.
Yeah. So essentially, they've been left uncertain about what they can and can't record, and the way they word it is like they have less rights than the general public in their recording capabilities, which I'm like isn't necessarily a bad thing because general public recording in public is very different to police recording everything and keeping it on some random database and using it for law enforcement. Anyway, so this law is coming out and saying essentially, and this is the issue, that police can film anything they want whenever they want it.
What about body cams?
Pardon?
What about body cams?
There's nothing in there about body cams, but
Yeah.
it would ultimately enable them to, like, if they wanted to, this legislation would be in place for them to just turn it on. Well, I think what we're proposing is some of our recommendations have been to tighten some of the wording around it because they use, police can record things for police activity, but police activity is not defined anywhere in the bill. So it's like, well, I was doing my activities when I was filming. I
So
was
really,
in my
what they
police
mean
car.
is my work in the usual
as
work
long
in
as
the
I'm
line
in-
of duty.
yeah,
right?
yeah.
As long as I'm in my capacity as an officer.
And then the word for intelligence purposes,
Yeah.
also not defined. So some of the things we're proposing is saying, okay, either don't have those words in there, or if you're going to have them in there, define them very tightly. And police, I'll be interested to hear your thoughts on this. Police, I think, in cases of imminent threat or where there's reasonable and articulable cases of crime happening, should be able to record because when the day comes in court, either the police can say, well, this is what I thought was happening, and then the person who's been indicted gets away because it's been wrongfully arrested, or the police get justified in their action. So I think there is, for the sake of justice, there is scope for some recording to take place. It just has to be tightly parametered for imminent threats or real crime, whereas at the moment none of that is taking place.
And I think like I made this point a while back when we talked about this, but ultimately, how much are we going to be able to trust any kind of visual recording with the way AI is going? In time.
That's a long term. Consideration. But
I mean, the number of Facebook shorts that just get me every time.
Yeah, I know. I'm like,
It's a
Phineas
you
and
thing.
Ferb.
I think that might be.
No, I'm thinking generationally. Like, you've got these judges go, "Oh, that's real," and then all the young people in the
I
court
see
go,
some
"Nah, that's
funny
totally
Peppa
AI."
Pig stuff, man.
Everything that you see of me is AI. Just putting it out there. Any allegations that are AI.
But yeah, the T word you use, trust, that comes to the foundations of this.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I think people would be cautious of the police recording everything naturally. When you layer on top of that the fact that we've had controversy from literally the number one cop in the nation all the way to the front lines, 150 cases in 2025 the IPCA picked up, and there's already been dozens this year. Why would we trust the police with more power?
Yeah.
They're not even exercising their current powers. And this is the other thing. The whole argument is around lack of clarity. So instead of seeking more clarity, they've asked for more power, but called it greater clarity. It's like, brother, read what you've currently got.
Right, it's so ironic because that's very well said. It's so ironic because they've reached this point because of a series of court decisions that they disagree with, right?
Yeah.
And then in Hansard, in Parliament, they're talking about this, and they're like, well, we'll give them all these powers. They're pretty broad, but like, if there's any issues, the courts can deal with it in the end.
Yeah. The court's like, they're wrong.
Yeah. It's like, we just did tell you what. Like,
So and this is the thing: the court's telling them wrong. The IPCA is telling them wrong. An independent review conducted within their own ranks told them they were wrong. They're in court right now because of data capture and collection. They're in court right now because of not refusing, but failing to delete data. They had 4 years to delete it, and they're like, "Oh, we can't delete it because it's not stored efficiently."
Yeah.
we don't know what they don't.
Yeah,
know
we don't know where it
They
is. We don't
actually
know what it is.
where
We'd have to open every file. Do you know how crazy that is? Brother, yeah, why did you take that many photos? First of all, second of all, why don't you store them properly and efficiently? What's on them? There's like DJI 7793471.
just
That's all of the files.
so
command A delete.
There's no comprehensive principled strategy here.
Yeah.
It's actually, we've had a whole lot of doors shut on us. And so we're just trying the first thing that opens. And at some point, the courts are going to go, yeah, you can do this.
And
right?
even the
It
new
just
guy,
lacks total coordination, lacks no foresight.
the new guy I saw is under scrutiny now. It was something that happened a year ago. I need to read the story, but the guy who replaced the guy for scandal is now being in his own scandal.
Really? Holy.
Did I ever tell you about something that I applied for with the police? I think I did.
Yeah.
Eh?
You did hate crime officer.
No. So between starting Pillar and what we were doing formerly, I thought, I wonder if there's any good jobs for the police. They had a comms officer role, or like to be part of the communications team.
Right.
I should try to find it, but I wrote this cover letter effectively with my CV that just said, "Look, you guys desperately need help with your public-facing communication. You desperately need to regain the trust of the public. I think that you do that through transparency, through just laying it all out and then moving forward." The cover letter I thought was and I said, look, if you search me up, you look into me, you're going to see I've been pretty critical of you in the past, but I think all quite fairly. So don't hold that against me. And then obviously didn't get the job, or maybe I did. No, I didn't. But now I just think about that cover letter, everything that's going on. And I feel like resending it as a reminder, just being like, hey, just by the way, I did tell you that you needed to do a better job, all this stuff.
And it's still not.
But they probably get 100 million emails like that from weird people all the time. So I'm just another crank.
One of those
Who
folders.
knows? You might have been like next cab off the rank.
Nah, they said that I wasn't qualified enough. They said, you haven't served in the public service for at least 30 years. I heard you're buying a Chinese EV.
No, I would never do that.
Did you hear what happened to him on Remy yesterday?
No.
He got asked right at the end of the interview, would he ever buy a Chinese EV? I was like, well, no, obviously not.
Yeah, he's like, would you ever buy a China? After I spent 15 minutes talking about why
How bad
they're
they were.
He's like, so would you buy a Chinese EV? I was like, I don't think I'm even allowed in China, let alone buying a Chinese
He was trying to get you with like hypocrite, like, are you a hypocrite vibe?
Yeah, I was like, that you got to be smarter than that to, I've just spent 15 minutes saying no, and then you got to work around it a little bit if you're gonna have a try and have a gotcha moment.
I finished the blast with just a clarification
Ooh,
point
little
that I
killer.
bought a Japanese EV,
Ah, yes, you did.
not a Chinese EV,
A Japanese.
Probably made in China though, isn't it?
because I'm not racist,
Neither am I.
Yeah, that's
FYI.
good.
but I am anti-communist.
Let's go.
I'm anti-racist.
Yeah,
I just love.
yeah.
I'm also anti-misogynist, and I'm also
Yeah, we know about
anti-communist.
And
Sorry, I just thought I'd clarify. But anyway, as we're saying, Chinese.
I am
EVs.
whatever you say I am.
I am that which I am.
Nah, so the EV issue, we've emailed the relevant ministers, waiting to hear back. You said yesterday that we should also email or write a letter to the SIS and the Privacy Commission, which we should. Maybe that'll be our second punch, follow it up.
Yeah. Boom, boom.
Ultimately, people are coming at us hard. Well, not that hard to be honest, but people are coming at us because we have called out Chinese-made EVs. You did a great job of explaining why. They're a huge percentage of the market share, and also they are the most imminent strategic threat to our democracy and our national security and sovereignty. Right. So when people say, what about Tesla? Yes, Tesla as well.
If you care about privacy, don't buy Tesla. Like, I'm not. Yeah.
I'm sure Elon is doing equally suspicious things with our data, using it for his own purposes. But at the end of the day, I would rather have an alliance or a working relationship with the US than China.
Well, and I think when people make that argument, there's a bit of a false equivalence, right? In the sense of you're talking about two very different political systems. You don't have to like the problems that occur in the US Republicans, the US government system, but the point is that is light years away from how the CCP run China.
and no, but let me explain this as well. Remember when Elon was really in with the Trump administration? He's not so much now, as far as I understand. People went around like firebombing Teslas, just random Teslas, and like destroying them, vandalizing them. Random Teslas. That's crazy. You're a crazy person if you think that
clinically
that you're like, don't buy a Tesla or I'll vandalize it. You have no moral high ground to be like, why are you calling out Chinese-made EVs? Listen, if you were in China and you started destroying their EVs there, they'd cut your hands off. They put you in prison.
Become an EV. They would turn you.
They would recycle you into EV material.
You know what I mean? Be the E for the V.
You'd be incorporated into their tires.
Yeah, because the same people are like, what about Elon? Well, you were condoning violence against him because of political ideology. I don't think you have any moral basis.
No, I think that too many people are listening to the voices of critics who actually would want either a form of militant socialism or anarchy. And look, in the end, the US government actually will ensure, to the best of their ability, that any company that operates within US jurisdiction is going to not, even if they sell data to private companies, which I disagree with in a lot of respects because of the civil liberties implications, but they will have restrictions around whether that data can be sold to countries like China.
Yeah.
And so that is important because ultimately that's what threatens our national security.
Right.
Yeah. Keeping the data ring-fenced in the nation of origin and with the company of origin.
And there's a lot of work to do on, even in democracies, on how that data and those sorts of capabilities that auto manufacturers have now with this new tech, that there are lots of challenges ahead as to how we ensure even within those democracies that data is used appropriately, and that people have great ownership over that. So, but that's a separate issue, really. People want to conflate it, but it's actually a separate issue.
That's where some of these regulators who are really like fans of the treaty have quite a cool point, because they talk about data being a tonga.
Yeah.
I don't really care about all this stuff, but I talked to a digital expert who was saying that data's a tonga. Like if we have the treaty intertwined with all of our digital and data regulation, we have a cultural argument for data sovereignty and data security. Yeah. And I was like, oh yeah, that's. I mean, well, look, to say that was what the Māori intention was. Completely misunderstands the Māori's understanding of data and security, but it's a good reinterpretation.
If Te Ao Māori, happens to agree with liberal democratic, tradition when it comes to civil liberties, then cool.
Bring it on. Bring it on.
Can I just say,
please,
you have not heard ring fence so much in this as you have in this podcast since the last election. I've used ring fence about 4 times. That was one of the words of the last election.
Yeah, ring fencing money, yeah.
We're going to ring fence. Everything was being ring fenced. Do you remember this?
It could be the word of the year.
Well, ring fence, abhorrent was used quite a lot. What else was there? I like it when there's obviously a word that's in the psyche of all the politicians and then like how to start using it. But yeah, abhorrent, the Greens really enjoyed that for a while.
Zeitgeist.
Yeah, fascist, Nazi, racist.
Nazis. Yeah, those are dying down.
It probably depends a lot on the word for the day that Chloe's been studying up on a dictionary.
Her dictionary. The communist.
She's a very articulate person, whatever you might think of her politics.
We didn't finish our predictions because I predicted that Chloe was going to resign after the election. Did anyone else have any predictions after the election?
How long after the election? Because I know it's a long time. Like
I'd say
after the election,
following
the entire future.
February
from November on.
Yeah, February-ish.
You think by February next year
she'll announce her transition? She might not be gone by February, but she'll announce that she's looking. She'll do a Van Velden. She'll help the leadership handover.
That's assuming that she doesn't get into a coalition.
She's not getting into any coalition. I guarantee it.
Really?
Yeah. And if I'm wrong, I will donate $100 to the Green Party.
Okay. Well, look, I think you're right, to be honest. They might do one of those things where they did with James Shaw, where they like bring him in as the only minister and he's like the Green Minister. But
because he was the only one in there that was even half responsible.
Yeah, exactly. But he got to have his title. If or when Winston goes with Labour and they just want to do all the green stuff, they just get Chloe in on.
What happened?
What happened?
Did you get in trouble at the last meeting?
Why?
It's gone blue all of a sudden, eh?
What, you don't think Winston will go with it?
No.
Have you been reined in?
You've been reined in?
Yeah.
They pulled him aside.
Next thing you'll be wearing a muzzle.
Have you got all of your toes?
Huh?
Have you got all your toes that cut off from your toes?
I have to find out. Come visit.
Got a Yakuza tattoo on your back.
Nah, listen, I
Again.
understand, and that's the thing. I understand people who are saying Winston could very likely go with Labour. He's ruled them out, but
He has
he
a
went
way.
with them in
He
the
has a
past,
way. He has a
and he is slick enough with his words that he could.
That's
And
right.
as I pointed out
Back.
before, New Zealand first in terms of some of the economic
They're pretty
policies
left.
are actually the old left in many respects. A lot of people, even long time New Zealand first supporters, struggle when people say that. But like, if you put them on a spectrum and you look at their policies and the things they've advocated for over the years, they certainly resemble the old left. I'm talking about
The old left. I don't mind the
old left. I'm talking about prior to Muldoon.
Wow. I wasn't
That
even
old
around. That's
left.
so old. I wasn't even around.
Well, no, there was stuff you.
Have you got
I was
any?
born in 1982, mate.
No, I wasn't
Not
around.
1962.
Have you got any prediction? Any big shakeups?
I think that we're just living through such uncertain times at the moment that I don't have any firm predictions. I think there are some really interesting scenarios that could play out, like we've been talking about. Those are conceivable when
Just adopt one. Adopt one.
okay, just for the sake of the soundbite.
Hypothetically.
I think that it's probably going to be the current coalition in some configuration, right?
Coalition.
I don't see that happening. I do think it's going to be the same as we have right now that will roll through, past November. I think the big shake-up's coming actually for the left. Some of it's already started happening. TPM have done it to themselves. And Labour, I think, have a
nothing but
reckoning.
shaking up. That's all they do.
Well, I think that Labour have a reckoning coming to them. I don't think, even though Hipkins is more favourable Prime Minister material at the moment compared with Luxon in the polls, I don't think that another loss will see him through past November. I think there's going to be a bit of a shake-up in Labour when that happens. So my main prediction is I think that we'll see the current government in some form, maybe slightly, obviously new proportions of seats and so on, but we'll see them carry on, and we'll see a change of the guard in Labour as a consequence, which is not revolutionary.
I agree.
I'm not like coming out with
no,
a
no, no,
wild
I agree.
prediction here, but I think that's
think,
probably what's going to happen.
They'll make it to the election. I think the current guys will stay in, maybe a bit more tight, but they'll stay in. And then I think after that, Labour will say, "All right, Chris, you've had your run. Right, let's try something different."
I would add, though, I think it's going to be a much tighter election than the polls
yeah,
indicate. At the moment.
but
It's going to be a hard-won election
yeah,
for the
start of the year.
coalition.
I didn't think that, but as time progresses, I think that might be true.
Yeah, I think Iran's shaking everything
What
up.
does Hipkins do post politics? Because he doesn't have the Jacinda aura that she was able to go on and write a book and do a press tour and make a movie.
Straight up.
He's got very little appeal. I mean, I'm sure he's competent at something, not as a prime minister, but at something. Does he just go into private?
I mean, he'll become the vice chancellor. At
Yeah, I was going to
university,
say
right?
he'll take 18 months
that what
off,
they do?
and then he'll find somewhere and something to do in Wellington, because typically that's what happens. Experience.
I mean, Grant Robertson, Steve Mahadi, these guys, they go on and they get these jobs.
And people have short-term memory. Like people forget about Chris, and in 3 years' time, they'll be like, "Oh, who's that guy? We'll bring him in."
yeah, I mean, same way Phil Goff kind of, fades.
Oh man,
Oh,
Phil Goff
Billy
and Helen
Willie.
Clark need to shut up. Oh my
Billy
god,
Willie.
Phil Goff is like, and Chris Finlayson, bro. And
they
here's
have
the
a
thing.
podcast together.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
They are literally so much more qualified than us to talk about this stuff. They've got their own podcast.
Most of their predictions are
They
wrong.
suck at it.
Yeah,
What the heck?
I think that's because
They're removed from the everyday people.
but people that make predictions because they want it to happen
Yeah.
are automatically, clouded by.
I predict Winston Peters 100% of the vote this year.
Yeah, it's not.
You read my
Predictions
mind.
are not about what you want. It's about what you can actually realistically see occurring. What's plausible?
What's wrong with those guys, though? Every time I see a clip of this, it's like the most stupid political thinking. And I'm a guy who is such a layperson in this space. My expertise is not politics. I'm not an economic genius or anything like that. My skill set here is campaigning. My ability here is commentary. My ability here is, I'm a starter, like I make something happen.
You're underselling yourself.
They seem to understand nothing about. I'm like, and I think it is because they're removed from everyday Kiwis.
I agree.
Like they spent too long in Wellington. They spent too long in diplomatic position. They spent too long in the system. The everyday Kiwi.
And that's what's interesting is that part of the problem is that if you've been in politics for a long time, you've held positions and you have a public profile, whether or not people like you really don't get the unvarnished truth from a lot of people once you start going back out onto the street.
Yeah.
And that's happened to a lot of former politicians.
As in because you're quote unquote famous, people speak to you differently.
Yeah, I think a lot of people struggle to communicate what they're really feeling and thinking, partly because they think that you're probably more qualified to talk about it than they are, which is wrong, because you're the one who's feeling it on the street, right? You're feeling it in your business, you're feeling it in what you're doing every day, whereas they're not, and they've now entered into that kind of a somewhat insulated world where they're still moving amongst the same set, the same crowd.
Of course.
The same kind of intellectual class.
I wonder.
Sorry.
No. That made me think. I wonder how I would behave if I saw Jacinda in real life.
What
I would say to her.
I think
I'd probably be nice.
too much has been said about
Give her a hug
Jacinda.
if she wants.
Yeah, I think people emphasise Jacinda. I'm not saying that I would defend everything she did. I don't at all. But
careful.
But even that statement, what she did. Ultimately, of course, she's the figurehead.
Yeah, we voted her in.
She has that executive decision-making ability.
We did.
But cabinet...
I didn't either, but...
Cabinet is ultimately where these decisions get made.
Sure, yeah.
And the Prime Minister has certain executive powers that the other cabinet ministers don't have. But in the end, you don't get, 2 terms in government without the cabinet being on board for most of what you're doing. And it's not all of her original thinking that we got the benefit of, if you can call it that.
I'd say that, yeah, I understand. She cops the flick because she was the leader, but I'd say that everyone's equally as unpopular. That was part of it. Yeah, Hipkins is unpopular. Asia Veal is unpopular. Kiri Allen, if she wasn't hiding somewhere drunk,
except that Chris Hipkins is leading in preferred prime minister.
That's crazy.
Stakes.
The polls mean very little to me.
Can someone poll me?
Again, I'm not saying
right now.
I'm not saying it's gospel, but I'm simply putting out that he's now had consistently been top of the tables.
Who at the table thinks he should be prime minister?
No, I'm not saying
0%, and that is the sample size.
That's literally what TVNZ does.
But this is where we have
to
to be careful that we don't do what Phil Goff and Chris Finlayson do, right?
True.
We underestimate.
Get fired from our jobs.
We underestimate that there are still a lot of people. There are a lot of people that went through COVID unscathed.
What do you mean?
As in, like they still have somewhat fond memories of that period. Which I know is weird.
Look, if I can be honest,
wow,
the first lockdown, I liked it.
Sure.
Bang.
But Israel had just turned 1.
Aww.
I got to stay home for a month, and I was delivering care packages to people from our church.
Yes,
and it was kind of nice,
But you weren't living in Auckland through that.
I was in Dunedin, to be fair.
Yeah,
True.
And so if you lived in Auckland, mate, those lockdowns just went on forever and ever. And so there's a certain group of people that were more affected over that long period that really wore thin for them.
Would we endorse another lockdown? Absolutely not. Someone asked me this yesterday, and I said I believe we made the right decision initially with the information we had available. The things that happened afterwards that put us in the position we're in now was an inability to admit that there were mistakes made and that people were wrong.
Well said.
And and that is it. Like the initial response, I have no problem with. It was the decisions following that initial response.
Mate, look, if it's Ebola, yep.
What?
If it's Ebola,
yeah,
the Ebola virus,
yeah,
then I would say lock this place down straight away.
I wouldn't.
Really?
The mortality,
yeah,
is 50%.
Survival of the fittest, baby.
Yeah. It don't discriminate. Like you lose half a family though.
Yeah, that's a good point actually.
Got too many.
Make more.
Can I pick which family members I lose?
Any political capital that they had, any kind of goodwill and trust that we had prior to COVID was largely burnt up. And that's because the whole preemptive thing and the abundance of caution that was constantly being kind of talked about ultimately didn't work in the long run. It only worked in that first phase, which fair enough. If you take some of the international numbers and evidence, may well have helped us in that first phase quite significantly, but it came at a big cost.
You know, when you play like racing games, like car racing games, and you have turbo,
yeah,
and you can only use your turbo once. and then and then you run out of turbo, and then you got to run the race without your turbo. And they used their turbo with COVID, and that was the goodwill and the trust.
And
that they
now
had.
the wheels are about to come off.
Yeah.
Economically,
pit stops.
we can't make
exactly.
any pit
They
stops
use-
because we're
they
going to be
use their-
forced into the
Exactly.
barrier
Yeah.
with 3 wheels.
And when we do go to war with, maybe China, maybe Iran, people won't buy in as much as they maybe would have or could have. So
Ain't going to make a difference when it's thrust upon you.
Final question, hypothetical. Zombie apocalypse.
Oh, yeah.
You can have one weapon, one partner, and one vehicle.
one partner, any partner?
Any partner, fiction, non-fiction. Weapon, partner, vehicle. What do you go with to survive?
Okay, wait. Weapon, partner, vehicle.
Yeah.
Okay. I know my partner and my vehicle.
I didn't come here prepared for this question. Look, Toyota Hilux, all
Okay,
right,
Hilux,
with extra steel plating welded over it.
You can pick any vehicle. Fiction,
Yeah,
non-fiction.
and Hilux all the way.
That's a bold move.
And a flamethrower.
And a flamethrower.
Yeah.
Holy. Okay.
As long as if when you set the zombie on fire, there's nothing, no particulates in the air that could infect you.
Well,
as
we
it's
don't know
smoking.
what sort of strain these zombies have.
Okay.
Margot Robbie wedding ring and a Jaguar. Done.
So the
feel like
zombie
you came
apocalypse.
prepared with that answer.
A zombie apocalypse, not a horny apocalypse. This guy, what's wrong with him?
Hey, we're going
She's
out.
already taken. Margot Robbie's already.
That's like.
Bro, she's like 40 as
attractive.
well.
Well, hey, what are you picking? I quite like
Okay.
my
weapon.
I'm going out with a bang.
My weapon, dual lightsabers.
Oh,
One each hand. My partner, I'm going to go with Iron Man.
Yeah.
My vehicle,
Can we just be clear about
my
the
vehicle,
partner?
Optimus Prime.
oh,
Bro, that
was great. That was
The
great.
partners, we're not talking about like a life partner here. We're talking about like
Who's
who's
fighting
going to
the
help you
zombies with you?
fight these zombies.
Well, I just took a different.
Margot
we know
Robbie,
you did. We
Margot
know you
Robbie's
did.
gonna wake. Margot Robbie's gonna wake up in a zombie apocalypse with you standing over here smiling with a wedding ring, and she's gonna be like, "What the hell
I
is
said
this?"
we're going out with a bang. Oh no! As in, no! No, that's not what I meant. As in, no. That's so bad. That's really bad.
See, I'm surviving, mate. I'm surviving. Me and
I don't-
Iron Man, we're hanging.
That's what I mean. I just
out.
took a different route. I was like, this is not ending well. Let's just have a good time. Let's go for a drive. Let's go have some
So
fish
this
and
thing,
chips.
faced with disaster
Imminent
or
threat?
death, I picked survival.
I
He's
picked
picked-
defeatism.
He's going pleasure over business.
Nah, there was no
You
pleasure.
picked
We just
the
thought we'd have a
Hilux.
good.
What's your weapon and your partner?
Yeah, flamethrower.
Yeah,
And I don't know, probably Jackie Chan.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
He's pretty nimble.
I actually watched a recent Jackie Chan movie on Netflix
Yeah.
called The Foreigner. Have you watched this?
No.
Actually
Oh yes,
really
I have.
good. It's
With
actually
Pierce
really
Brosnan, eh?
good. Yeah, Pierce Brosnan's the Irish
guy. Yeah.
You should watch it. Anyway, that was my final question that I just wanted to. Maybe I'll start checking some of those hypotheticals.
I
in
quite
the
like
episode.
those. Yeah.
You got to pick one. You got to. Anyway, any final thoughts?
About zombie apocalypse or
Just about politics and the work that we're doing at the moment. And you
um,
want to shout out our agent in Beijing who listens to all of these?
Huh?
Because they've definitely assigned someone to watch us now.
You reckon?
Yeah.
I really want to go to China. To
I just want to say ni hao
Oh.
and
First Officer Zhao, proud of you, bud.
what do I want to say? I want to say that
I believe the children of the future. Treat them well and let them lead the way.
I think we this is my original thought for this week. We need to start getting pretty creative about how we run this country. I don't mean democratically. We stick with that system because it's good, but we need to start getting creative in terms of our economy. We need to start really hustling and making some deals. Not just India, not just China, but like we need to be really branching out, and we've got to do a whole lot more to stimulate like free enterprise in this country. We are going backwards if you look at all our key markers for economic performance. So I think people have to shake themselves out of this complacency they've got into and this defeatist thinking. That's really, I think, a big challenge right now, and we've got to start, like I said, getting creative, and really moving, putting some energy into new enterprises, new initiatives.
I agree.
Put some energy in.
That's my thought for the
Creativity.
week.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Be creative, revitalize, re-energize. Remember, regarding
Value added.
value added.
None of the same old, same old. We need actually creativity in terms of what we're selling to the world, and keep it in house where possible. If we can, if efficiency is possible, by keeping it in house, keeping costs down, but also giving people jobs here, and good jobs. Let's do it.
Here.
Here's my thought. Grand coalition's on the way, baby. It's inevitable.
It's inevitable.
Labour's hit their ceiling. National has got further to fall. Winston's on the rise. David will claw back some popularity based on their new immigration announcement. But I would say watch everybody on that coalition side start to move towards natural resource mining, exploration.
Yeah.
They're all going to start to follow NZ First's most popular lines. Because even though objectively ACT and National have been more effective in government, your point the other week was so right.
Oh, thank you.
New Zealand First has captured the New Zealand minds and hearts.
Well
and
said,
unfortunately, for all the realists and people who live in reality, which is all of us, people are not voting based on results that are immediately tangible, visible, and they can touch and see. They are voting on these ideals that New Zealand First is advocating for, and I can understand that.
And that's the key difference this time around, is that it isn't just a dissatisfaction that New Zealand First is tapping into. It's actually there are some emerging principles and ideas that aren't new to New Zealand First, but that people are going, actually, you know what? Maybe the time has come for this stuff.
And they're positive about New Zealand. They're optimistic about our future.
Yeah.
They're speaking with vision. Their solution to a better New Zealand is strengthening New Zealand, not sending $20 billion offshore. And I think people like that.
Well said.
So there you go. And no, I am not running as a candidate of New Zealand First, as I have been previously accused of. And I will vote for whoever on the day I think best serves our country.
Favorite color? I might go based on color. Oh, nice. Yeah.
That's racist.
But you're
sure.
anti-racist, remember that.
Sorry, I meant the color of the party. As earlier when I said bang, I didn't mean bang. I meant like a nice try.
No, don't, please.
I'm so sorry.
Let's not rehash that.
Anyway, Arian, before you shoot off to your JP Morgan interview, anything you want to say?
Please, I can't. Look, the most important thing, as I always say, is your most immediate sphere of influence. Love your family, love your neighbor, love everyone, love all. Politics matters, but your most immediate sphere of influence is where you have the most influence. So
Wow, what a word!
I know.
Shakespeare.
I know.
Watch out, mate.
Maybe I'm
Somebody would say
some
word
might
salad.
say
Yeah.
pardon? Some might say word salad. Some might say
The most
Not me, not
immediate
this guy.
influence is influence.
is influence. Some might say
John Maxwell. Watch
Word.
out, mate. Wizard.
word dessert. With that, we'll say goodbye. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Stay in touch. Stay in tune. Sorry, I keep cooking.
Go
today.
again.
All right. With that, thank you all for listening. Thank you for watching. Stay in touch. Stay in tune. We'll see you soon.
That was good. You
Thank
really
you.
corrected me.
I
You
really,
corrected
I'm generally quite confident, but when
And
it comes
stop.
to the outro,
You know what it is? It's you're flustered because you were thinking about Margot too much.